We look at the streets of America today, from the underpasses of Los Angeles to the corners of Kensington, Philadelphia, and we ask the same question over and over again. Why don't they just stop? Why do they choose the sidewalk, the dirt, and the danger over a normal life? We look at the devastation of the homeless crisis and we assume it is a choice. We assume it is a lack of willpower. We assume it is a moral failing. But what if I told you that the concept of choice died a long time ago? What if I told you that the drug supply currently flooding the United States has been chemically engineered to delete the human survival instinct? We are not dealing with the heroin of the 1,970 seconds or the crack cocaine of the 1,980 seconds. We are dealing with fentanyl. And fentanyl does not just get you high, it colonizes the human brain. It owns the streets not because people want to die, but because they are terrified to live without it. This is the uncomfortable truth about why the homeless cannot escape. It is worse than you think. It is not a party, it is a prison. And today, we are going to step inside that prison to understand the mechanics of the trap that is destroying America. To understand why fentanyl owns the streets, we first have to understand the brutal economics of mass destruction. In the past, drugs like heroin required agriculture. You needed poppy fields in Afghanistan or Mexico, you needed farmers, you needed seasons, and you needed weather. It was a logistical nightmare. Fentanyl changed the world because it divorced addiction from nature. It is made in a lab, it is synthetic. This means the supply chain is infinite. The cartels can produce it rain or shine, day or night. Because it is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine, the volume required to get an entire city high can fit in the trunk of a single car. This efficiency has driven the price down to zero. On the streets of many American cities today, a pill of fentanyl costs less than a bottle of water, it costs less than a candy bar. When a drug is cheaper than food, it becomes the primary consumable of the poor. For a homeless individual, scraping together $3 for a hit is achievable. Scraping together first and last month's rent for an apartment is a mathematical impossibility. The economics of fentanyl have created a barrier to entry that is non-existent. It is the most accessible commodity in the American ghetto. But cheapness is only the bait. The trap is the biology. When a person takes fentanyl, the drug crosses the blood-brain barrier and binds to the mu-opioid receptors with a ferocity that nature never intended. It triggers a massive release of dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure, reward, and motivation. But calling it pleasure is an understatement. It is a euphoric blast that tells the brain, this is the most important thing that has ever happened to us. The brain, in its evolutionary wisdom, is designed to seek out things that keep us alive. Food, water, warmth, social connection. When fentanyl hits, it hijacks this survival hierarchy. It rewrites the code. It tells the brain that fentanyl is more valuable than food. It is more urgent than water. It is more protective than shelter. Over time, this creates a phenomenon called anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure from natural sources. A sunset, a hot meal, a hug from a family member, these things no longer register. The brain's baseline for happiness has been reset so high that normal life feels like suffocating grayness. For the homeless individual on the street, reality is cold, hard, and painful. Fentanyl is the only color in a black and white world. Why would you escape the only thing that makes you feel alive? But the high is not the reason they stay. The reason they stay, the reason they cannot escape, is the terror of the come down. This is the factor that most people outside the life do not understand. It is called dope sickness. Fentanyl has a very short half-life. The euphoria fades quickly, sometimes in just a few hours. And when it leaves the receptors, the body crashes into a state of withdrawal that is described as a living hell. It is not just the flu, it is a full system nervous system revolt. Bones ache as if they are breaking. The skin feels like it is crawling with insects. Vomiting, diarrhea, uncontrollable shaking, and a panic, a primal, animalistic terror that convinces the user they are dying. Imagine having the worst flu of your life combined with a panic attack while sleeping on concrete in freezing weather. Now imagine you have a pill in your pocket that can make it all stop in 10 seconds. Would you take it? Of course you would. Everyone would. This is why fentanyl owns the streets. The homeless population is not chasing a high anymore. They are running from the sickness. They are using to feel normal. They are using to be able to stand up, to walk, to function. The drug has become their medicine, and the withdrawal is their disease. This cycle, get well, fade out, get sick, repeat, consumes every waking hour. There is no time to look for a job. There is no mental bandwidth to fill out housing applications. There is only the clock ticking down to the next sickness. And then there is the environment itself. We ask people to recover, to get clean, but we leave them in the war zone. Imagine trying to quit smoking while living inside a cigarette factory. That is the reality for the homeless in Kensington or Skid Row. You cannot walk 10 feet without seeing it, smelling it, or being offered it. The social network of the street is built around the drug. Your friends are users. Your dealers are your neighbors. The economy of the encampment revolves around the trade. To escape fentanyl, you have to escape your entire world. You have to leave behind the only community you have, however broken it may be. And you have to do it while battling a brain that is screaming for the drug. The isolation of homelessness drives the addiction, and the addiction enforces the isolation. It is a perfect, hermetically sealed loop of despair. Furthermore, the drug supply itself has mutated. As we have discussed in previous documentaries, the introduction of xylazine or tranq has clamped the trap shut even tighter. Xylazine extends the sedation, knocking people out for hours, making them vulnerable to robbery and assault. But worse, it creates a physical dependency that is separate from the opioid dependency. If a person tries to detox from fentanyl, they might survive the opioid withdrawal. But the xylazine withdrawal causes severe anxiety, high blood pressure, and seizures. Standard rehab protocols are often not equipped to handle this dual withdrawal. So, a homeless person tries to get clean, goes to a clinic, gets treated for fentanyl, but still feels like they are dying because of the xylazine. So they leave, they go back to the street, and the narrative becomes, treatment doesn't work for me. The psychological toll of this repeated failure is devastating. Every time a person tries to quit and fails, their belief in their own agency diminishes. They begin to accept their fate. They internalize the idea that they are broken, that they belong on the pavement. This is called learned helplessness. It is a psychological state where an individual feels they have no control over their outcome, so they stop trying to change it. The streets of America are dying because we are trying to fight a chemical weapon with handcuffs and judgment. We look at a person bent double on the sidewalk, frozen in the fentanyl fold, and we see a public nuisance. We do not see a human being whose neurochemistry has been taken hostage. The reality is worse than you think, because the fentanyl crisis is not static. It is evolving. It is getting cheaper, more potent, and more mixed with other toxins. The grip it has on the homeless population is absolute. It has dismantled the survival instinct and replaced it with a chemical mandate. So, why does fentanyl own the streets? Because it is the perfect product for a population in pain. It offers instant relief, it is cheaper than food, and it punishes you with torture if you try to leave. We must stop looking at this as a series of bad choices. We must start looking at it as a mass poisoning event. The people on the street are not partying, they are suffering. They are trapped in a biological and economic cage that most of us cannot even imagine. And until we treat the chemistry, the economics, and the environment simultaneously, the streets will remain owned by fentanyl. This is the uncomfortable truth. The American street has become a terminal ward, and we are watching the slow motion death of thousands of our citizens. If you found this analysis eye-opening, if you believe that we need to understand the science of the trap to fix it, please like this video. It helps this message reach more people. And subscribe to America's Uncomfortable Truth. We will keep shining a light on the darkest corners of our society because you deserve to know what is really happening. Thank you for watching.